Thanks. You get those. Thank you. 2 or 3 meetings ago, I wouldn't even get to it.
Do you feel better without the gallbladder? Do you notice?
Actually, it feels worse than
You
hurts.
have an easy, relaxed way.
Oh, no,
That's good.
except soreness.
And maybe it's good to move around the agenda.
At least you got it done though.
Hmm?
At least you got it done with enough time to recuperate for Florida.
I do.
Not missing anybody, so might as well get this going, huh?
Let's go.
All right. I'm going to bring the October 6, 2015 meeting of the Milton Planning Board to order. And the first thing on the agenda will be public comment. Anybody like to speak on anything other than anything on the agenda tonight? Not hearing anything, I close public comment. Second on the agenda, approval of minutes, meeting minutes of September 1, 2015.
I'm moving to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Not hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The third is the approval of meeting minutes of September 15th, 2015.
Make a motion to accept.
I have
I'll second.
a second. Discussion? Not hearing any? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay.
Dana, can you send me a copy of them? I don't have them.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
And now we've got 2 for Charlie. You want me to move him down to other business? Okay. Conservation Commission request for lot line adjustment of map 14, lots 1 and 2.
I don't have a plan.
We have them in front of us.
Big one.
Quite a few years ago, I don't know exactly when, but the land up there, Jones Brook, was voted on by the town to go into conservation. The problem that we've had, because the original plan that Berry Surveying and Engineering did showed encroachment, but nobody did anything about it. There was a shed encroaching, so consequently, we couldn't find anybody to hold the easement because of the encroachment. So we finally got together with Mr. Turnoff, I don't know his name. And he's not the original owner, so I mean, he had no idea the shed was encroaching. And so what we plan on doing is the lot line revision is shown here. And all I've done is jog a line around the shed, which is 7/8 on the town land. And so it meets the zoning setbacks, the side and rear setbacks. And the remaining piece here is got over 400 feet of frontage, so it meets all the zoning requirements and everything. And that's it. That way it cleans that up, so there's no more encroachment. Then hopefully we can find somebody to hold the easement for the conservation.
Why didn't they just move the shed?
That's what I said. But if you go up and look at the shed, it's big.
Is it,
Yeah.
It's even got,
It doesn't-
it's even got a screened-in
on the
porch.
plan, it doesn't say anything about the size or shape or, you know, and it just says, you know, I'm looking at all this and
Yeah, it's
thinking, why
a,
didn't they just move the shed?
that was my first thought, was, you know, jack it up, put it on rollers and roll it, set on top of a hill. probably get going.
Kept it on going in the road.
So,
I think Doc Barrett put that up. I think it was Charlie Barrett's old house.
yeah, I don't know.
Just
It-
over in these apples, just on the other side of the brook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Doc's old house.
Kathy and I, the first time the shed showed up on the tax cards was 1981. So it was there long before the survey and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, after that many years, has he gained any prescriptive rights to keep it there? And just could get messy. So
At
this
that
is
time,
just
he owned both pieces of land, because that was his gravel pit there. Sand
Yeah,
pit.
right.
That was all his.
So at the time, he probably didn't care about
No.
property lines, so. Anyways, that's the proposal, but like I say, that'll clean that up, and we'll be able to get somebody to take the easement.
Do I have a motion?
I have a question. first.
Question first? Yeah.
Yeah. The last meeting, the issue wasn't the land swap or the change, it was who pays.
Select and waive the fees.
Yeah, it's like,
Okay, so that's not,
Yep.
not an issue.
Yep. I forgot to say that.
me too.
What structure does the chair want for the motion?
Well, we should probably accept the application.
Okay, I move to accept the application.
Second. Any discussion? Questions or comments? All those in favor of accepting the application?
Aye.
This didn't get posted for public meeting, did it? Public hearing? This lot line adjustment, do we need a public hearing on that? Do the thing? Yeah. So it didn't get posted, so we can't have the public hearing tonight.
It wasn't posted for public?
It just says request for a lot line adjustment. Do we do the abutters?
Yeah, the abutters knew. I sent out the,
Okay, then we can do it.
Yeah, we gave the labels and everything.
Yeah.
for all
I got
the-
a letter and I got one.
yeah, the abutters are here.
Well, okay, then I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
open
okay.
up to the public. Any comments, questions?
Sounds great to me.
Close the public hearing. This is getting way too easy.
Yeah.
I'll bring it back to the board for any comments or questions. Not hearing any. All those in favor of the lot line adjustment, map 14, lots 1 and 2?
I,
Aye.
could I motion it?
Yeah,
Or so moved, yeah.
yep, we made the motion, seconded. Yep, and we've taken the vote, let's go.
Aye.
Now put on your zoning map hat. Can we go get that, bring that in? Probably easier. Oh, we can't right here.
You know the other one that I have no problem with? That little lot right there?
Yeah. What is it?
Well, I think it's one of the lots that go from Hayes Pit down to 125.
Yep, but you know what that is? That's where the apple trees and the blueberry bushes are.
Right, but if you read the description of the zone, it starts at the railroad tracks and goes this way. It doesn't say anything on the other side. Unless there's a warrant article that got voted in one year that we haven't found. I don't know. Anyways, Kathy and Dana asked me to start working on the base of the new zoning map, because our zoning map is not the best. So, the new zoning map that I'm working on is gonna have all the lots shown on it. Yes. So if somebody's, if somebody wonders where it is on their lot, they'll actually be able to see their lot and see where the zone is, if it splits their lot or whatever. So in doing this, though, I've found, well, what was this area up here? It's supposed to be the industrial zone. If you read the notes regarding the zones that are on the map, doesn't agree with this. And like I was telling Brian, that could be, it could be a warrant article from past years or something that changed one of those lots to the industrial zone. I kind of got an idea that's probably what it is, but we've lost the article. But my guess is because Pay's land has an access over the tracks and out to 125, that's why that's like that. I just haven't, Kathy hasn't been able to find the warrant article that changed it. Because if you read this, it describes the land on the southerly side of the railroad tracks all the way up to the southerly side of Prudential subdivision here, Pickett Hill subdivision, and being all of that. So that was one problem area. The other problem area is, of course, we've got these two zones overlapping each other down here, which the town attorney has said that's illegal. We can't have, the commercial zone overlaying a high-density residential zone. It's gotta be one or the other. So somehow I know that can't get fixed until town meeting, but it's something to think about, you know, how you want it zoned. And the other thing is, the yellow is a high density, and we're showing the high density zone all the way up to include Kingsbury Ave, right up to the edge of the pond. And the sewer stops way down here. So, we don't have water and sewer up here, we have water, but we don't have sewer. So, I don't know if you wanna look at that area to have it zone something else, because last March, we had that warrant article that said lots that are serviced by the water and sewer have the benefits of the high-density zone.
Right.
So, going by that, it should stop down here somewhere. So, those are the problems I'm running into. This zone up here has been changed, that was changed a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
To residential, commercial, those stripes up.
Another thing Charlie just suggested is our shorefront. Most all of our land shorefront is low-density residential. There isn't a conforming lot anywheres on the lake. We all know that, there's nothing.
Nothing. And what a lot of towns do is they create another zone, like Wakefield, for instance. I think they have an R3 zone around all their lakes and ponds that extends back, I can't remember if it's 200 or 300 feet from the water. And so that zone has separate setbacks, you know, different ones than your high density or your low density, you know. And they define, you know, the uses a little bit, the permitted uses a little bit differently. That might be something that the town might want to look at to help solve some of those problems, you know, that we get in down here. I've gone about as far on the zoning map as I can until decisions are made here where we got the two overlying zones, which Mr. Susser said we can't have. And then just trying to find some of these other areas, you know. Like this one here. I couldn't find this, right by exit 17. That's commercial residential. But I don't see it described anywhere. Again, it's probably,
Is that off McKegney Road?
it doesn't go down as far as McKegney Road. Here's McKegney right here.
Okay.
So this one's described, it goes down to McKegney Road, and then it actually goes by lot, it says, you know, by map, whatever, lot 45 and stuff back to the beginning, so it gives you lot lines to trace.
Yeah.
That's why having the lots underneath is really useful, but I haven't been able to find that one yet. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist, I'm just saying I haven't found it, and neither is Kathy, so.
None of these map was never updated. Every time we pass something in zoning, we never updated it.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
It's just been a cluster ever since. All right.
Do you remember, I believe it was Elaine Tasker, who in 2 separate years came and asked for a revision on her property?
She was on the other side of the highway.
And I don't think that was ever satisfactorily. It was resolved, but satisfactory is not the adjective that comes to mind.
Yeah.
The second is when the industrial and commercial zones were jammed together as one interpenetrating zone. It's not a good definition.
Yeah, that was a warrant article. When we did the industrial and commercial together.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the yellow overlay problem
Yeah.
comes.
So when you update the map, will we still have this condition in the downtown area where we'll have 2 zones? We'll have the commercial and we'll have the high density, or will the high density prevail?
Whichever the town votes in, or whatever you want. I mean, to me, you gotta look at how you want the downtown developed. And myself personally, trying to develop the downtown area, I'd rather see it a commercial zone.
Yeah. All the way up to.
But with permitted uses, you could allow residents, like, if somebody builds a building and wants some apartments overhead or something like that, it'd be an allowed use, but it depends on which way the town wants to go with it, you know. but,
Any questions or anything?
so I already talked to Kathy, and probably, because I'm leaving November 7th, what I'm probably gonna do next spring when I come back, is I'm gonna be working on that some more. But hopefully, that's why, if you get some zoning changes voted in this year, then I'll be able to put them on the map, and then we can have an up-to-date map. However you feel it should be
Yeah.
changed.
So what should the town meeting vote on, do you think, at this March meeting to make the zoning compatible with the map, or the map compatible with the zoning?
Well, I think, probably the planning board's gonna have to look at it and come up with some warrant articles, how they want it.
The
how they think it should
most
be.
obvious one is the high density needing both water and sewer. I mean, you know, where
Yeah.
there's just water that needs to be.
Now, Dale Sprague was gonna get Kathy a map of how far the sewer went up. That's the other thing, on the map, we don't exactly know where it is.
I think it's in the Depot Pond Road,
That's,
Yeah, I think that's it.
just about the
Yeah.
end of
that's what I
it.
think, yeah.
But again, when, that map will be available to us, won't it? You know, the map you're doing? So when we do decide to go over this, we can spread it out and do it by map and lot, the boundaries.
Yeah, I can make you a print of that anytime, and then get
Yeah.
you 2 or 3 prints if you wanna scribble off or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the answer, there's really no problems around the pond.
No,
I mean, other than if you're gonna do work over there, ain't nothing gonna conform, but, and so I don't know if it's worth doing a different zone over there, but
Yeah.
it's just, I know other towns have done it, it seems to be working for them okay,
I mean, is there any large chunks that haven't been subdivided that there would be a benefit for? I mean, if all the lots are
but.
existing
As far as I
now,
know,
then,
Bob,
you
I think
know,
they're all developed except what's left of not paved over,
that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
that's about the only chunk of land over there,
Larry.
Okay, so, from what you were saying, I think there are 6 things, and what of those can you comfortably put together as an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper for the planning board and for the attorney? Because I've got 6 things. A list of errors. My question is, when you have a map, what controls, the text or the picture? What-
Usually you have a written description of the zone, which we do have for the most part.
Yeah, and what Sessler thinks of the language of the commercial and industrial combination, and what he would do to clean it up, if anything. The text for the commercial zone, for the downtown, and the permitted uses, if you are familiar with that and can suggest a shopping list. And you will have a map and lot number for McKegney Road, and will you be able to answer the question regarding the parcel at exit 17?
I don't know about the parcel X 17, we're still doing some research to see if we can find out why it's zoned that way.
If I may, in theory, would you make a recommendation for what zone that parcel should be, that the planning board might want to address as part of the master plan?
I really think that's up to the planning board. I mean, you get up to 17 right there, you're probably gonna wanna see it as some kind of commercial, I would think, but.
Do we even know who owns it?
Dunton?
Dutton, Dick Dutton?
It's on the other
You
side
know
of the
what's,
highway.
I was on a piece of property last week on Newt Road, okay?
Yep.
And I went out back, I'll tell you who owns it, it's Aaron Peacock.
Yeah, I know, and Victor, he just logged that all off.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize, I mean, I get up in the field, because there's a big field there, and he's building like 1,000 feet off the road. And I got up there, and then I walked a little bit further, where he'd cut all that off, and you look right down on exit 17.
Yeah.
It was part of that big cut up there.
Yeah,
I don't know why it was clear cut almost, you know, I mean, it's like, wow.
Yeah, well, Dutton did a big piece of it too, up there. He did a good sized cut.
Yeah, so I don't know. But, I just think it's an opportunity while we're redoing the zone map. If, you know, probably 95% of it's gonna stay just like it is.
Yeah.
You know, but you just gotta look at a few different areas. You know, the other area that you might wanna look at, that I'd wanna look at is this zone right down here. Because that's 1 acre zoning.
Diamond Mark.
Remember when Diamond
Diamond
Hat
Mark.
did their subdivision?
Yep.
All 1 acre?
That-
There's no water or sewer there or anything. Why is it that way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why isn't it low density residential? So,
I think that was, Tasker again.
that's what I've heard.
And you know where that came from.
But I mean, if that's the way you want to keep it,
Yeah.
that's fine, you know, but,
There's actually, I don't think there's very limited access to that piece of property on top of that.
right, part of McKigney there is all class 6. I
Yeah.
mean, but-
Larry?
My vocal objection at the time is neither the property owners nor the agent acting for the property owners would agree to do anything to the 70-degree intersection on that road for a lousy quarter of an acre. They could have turned it into a T intersection and.
Oh, yeah, I remember that,
And
right?
they would not do it.
Coming out on a
And
new road.
If the planning board could do anything to preemptively require a T intersection for the 50-year down the road benefit of the town, it would be a wonderful thing. But what I really think.
If I remember, we made that a condition before they could do anything over there.
I don't think it's there.
I don't remember.
I could've sworn we made that a condition. That was the first thing they had, we argued and argued about that.
I jumped up and down, Brian.
And that was one of the first conditions, if they want, I could have sworn we made that a condition to do any site work. I'm almost positive. I know we did.
How do you do legal?
I know we did.
That was a fun one.
That was.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention, and then, if you have the time to, do some stuff with it and look at it, see how you wanna go.
Yep.
And I can bring you up some maps. Now, the map shows the lots, but it doesn't show the lot number, because of course it's different maps.
Yep.
So it just, but you can find out what you are already.
Sounds good.
Now I can go home.
Go home and rest.
Yep.
I can go home and sit between my sister-in-law and my mom.
Lucky.
Look
There
at
ain't
you.
much- there ain't much rest.
See ya.
Yeah, have a good one.
See you, Charlie.
Okay, Mr. Elder, you're up. RSA 79-E, Community Revitalization Tax Relief Incentive.
This is basically for the Board of Selectmen, but I thought it would be a good idea to bring it to the planning board to get their input to give to the Board of Selectmen. It's basically a economic revitalization zone where you can create tax write-off for the increases. There's a lot more to it than what I'm going to say, but it has to go to the public to a warrant article. And I just think it's something that we need to look at, or at least look at, for the downtown area of Milton. I think it's only another tool that maybe we can get some improvements in downtown Milton. And I'm just throwing it out to the planning board and the Board of Selectmen and anybody that'll listen. That's it.
That's it. Plenty of information.
If I could just jump in and say
Sure.
something. I think maybe a dozen towns have used this program in the past, and the town of Durham used it for 3 applications. And basically, if a property owner buys a building, say $300,000, and makes improvements in the building over a period of years, taxes are frozen at that lower level. say 300,000, and it could be for a period of years. It could be 3 years, it could be 5 years. But then after that period of time's over, the taxes would go up to what the full value was with the improvements. So it's kind of an incentive to encourage development in the downtown area. And the town meeting would have to pass a warrant article to that effect, and the selectmen would have to set up a process and have forms and applications, get applications in, see if it meets the criteria.
And it'll be up to, sounds like it'll be up to the selectmen to determine whether that meets the criteria then.
Yeah, well, the selectmen are looking to the Economic Development Committee and the Planning Board for input as to whether or not they should sponsor this as a warrant article. It's gonna take a warrant article.
Yeah.
And the Economic Development Committee saw it for the first time today, and they were taking it under consideration, and we'll talk about it the next meeting. So, no decision.
Peter?
Well, the way I read this though, then, what we do have to do is designate and describe the downtown area.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's us, that's not the selectmen.
If I can comment on that, I've read into it quite a bit. And my understanding is that's been defined it's a state program that if the town votes into it so that the town adopts the program, there is a definition of what downtown means. And I think that's part of the program already, so you may not have to go to that effort. You might, I don't know, but I seem to remember that there was a state definition of what downtown meant. There was a lot of information on the web about it that I read through, so I don't have it all with me, so I apologize.
I'm ignoring it. Larry?
And lest people wonder why you became the subtle and politically adroit chairman that you are.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, so he's in for 200,000. He's going to pay taxes on, or she is going to pay taxes on 200,000. Goes for a $200,000 improvement right now. Asks for a CO April 2nd. What happens to the year's taxes? They're delayed 1 year. So, and you can't force the town to do anything because it's on the books. For my money, it's a lot easier to say no thank you than have to beg pretty please if you want to do it and you have somebody on the hook who won't come unless they get it.
We've zoned the downtown in EIZ zone, which
Yep.
is a tax incentive program. And it's a tax incentive program that is, the state uses business profit taxes to fund it, it's state money. This program, while it may be attractive, is coming right out of our coffers. I mean, it's almost like you want business to come to have taxes, but then don't tell him he's only gonna pay them. It's kind of counterproductive, you know what I mean? It might be a hard sell for everyone that's paying their new taxes to waive this guy's, be it for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you know? When the other program is available, and it's a state money at that point, not our money.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Thank you. The purpose of this program is to give a tax incentive for people who are improving their properties. So if you don't have the program in place and somebody buys property for $200,000 and doesn't improve it because they can't afford to, or they don't want to make an investment, then you're getting the tax revenue from that $200,000. If the program's in place, you'll still get the taxes for the $200,000, but they'll improve the property, which when the program ends in 3 years or 5 years or whatever the selectmen decide, then the tax revenue does go up, and in the meantime, it helps improve the infrastructure of the downtown area. So it wouldn't cost Milton anything in tax revenue. It would only encourage people. You wouldn't be getting the new taxes if somebody made an improvement, but you'd be encouraging people to make an improvement where they wouldn't otherwise. So that's where the program comes from.
Larry?
May I speak on Mr. Bordeaux's behalf, which is that sharks can smell blood in the water miles off.
Now, my question, it says here, it says there's $850,000 of available tax credits. Is that still 850,000 left, or how much?
That's a different program.
That's the,
That's the
Oh, it's the
economic-
ERZ?
Yeah,
that's out of, we've already zoned that for that, and again,
Yep.
the business came in and did that. That program is already in place for them.
And that's a tax benefit for employment, right? Basically, if you employ people, you get.
so that's a credit off of their business profits tax. This would be like a reduction in their assessment once they made the improvements. It would be frozen at their
It's gonna be a tough sell
assessment.
to taxpayers, it really is.
I mean, it doesn't cost the town anything. If I were a business and I wanted to put a bowling alley in where Ray's Marina is, right? But that's gonna require $1 million worth of improvement, right? I can get the property cheap, and I could start that business, but I have to do the improvement, and then all of a sudden the property value goes way up because I had to spend all this money, and then it doesn't make sense anymore, so I say, no thanks, I'll find some place that I can just put a bowling alley in. Which bowling alley would be kind of fun in Milton, actually, but
Bowling is so 20th century.
it is. Even before that, it's 19th century, isn't it? Oh, it's pretty old. But, again, it's designed to help encourage people to improve a facility. And you still have to pay taxes on the value of that facility when you bought it. So it's not like if you apply for this program, well, first of all, if we adopt the program as a town, it doesn't mean anybody necessarily gets to take it. It still has to go through a process. The Board of Selectmen still has to approve it. But if that happens, they're not getting a free ride. They're not all of a sudden not paying taxes on their property. They're only not paying taxes on the cost of the improvement. And I think it would be beneficial to the town personally if people who own properties downtown were encouraged to improve them, because it would clean the downtown up. So
Anybody
says me
else?
as a citizen.
Well, we probably could do a little bit of quick arithmetic too. I would guess that the 15% is gonna be lower than the 75,000. That's not in the head arithmetic, but, keep paper, you can figure that out. That
Jerry, you mentioned
limit the number of
You mentioned
of
hotels.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Durham mentioned
$12,000.
have they been successful?
Certainly,
I
take
think Durham.
the marina, for example, a lot of,
Yep.
out of the
I
picture.
talked to the planner.
Not that that matters now, but
We could try
Right.
to find somebody who's used it to come in and talk to the board.
Yeah.
I thought I read somewhere that it had to be of a public benefit.
Right here.
How is cleaning up someone's property, how do you really justify that as a public benefit? I mean, if you were putting a restaurant in that the survey says everyone wants, and, I mean, you could see that as a public benefit.
I mean, I can think of an example right off the top of my head. If I owned the Ray's Marina property, which I don't, and I wanted to turn that parking area into a park, rip up all the asphalt, plant it, that would be, put some outside seating in there, that would be a public benefit. But there's a cost of improvement on that, and my taxes would go up. Right, so,
And again, I think we look at it in two different formats. You have the Ray's Marina property, which this might ideally fit, and then you talk about all the other downtown properties.
there's a lot, I mean, no offense to anybody who's listening online that owns those properties, but there are a lot of properties in the downtown area that are really dilapidated.
But how do they get fixed to a public benefit?
If the downtown area looks better, then the whole town will benefit. I mean, businesses will be more likely to come in. Eventually,
If I put new siding on
property-
my house, does that make the
makes your-
downtown look better,
it
and
makes
I
your-
should not have to pay taxes on
it
that.
makes
I
your
mean, that
property-
seems like a tough sell.
Well, again, it's not all or none.
Yeah.
There's a process, and there was some, again, there's a lot of information online, and I've read a lot of it, I haven't read all of it. But there's a process of how the board of selectmen should approve or deny these applications when they come in. And you don't just get, well, I need to paint my house, so I don't wanna pay taxes on the improved value. You have to go to them and you have to apply and you have to prove that what you're doing makes sense. And if they don't like it, they say, sorry, no.
So like, excuse me, I'm sorry. Like, if the town wants to have affordable housing, or whatever, and somebody builds affordable housing, that could be a public benefit, that's what the town wants. In the master plan, a goal is encourage the redevelopment and revitalization of Milton's downtown area. That's one of the goals from the update back in February, so. And that's been in the previous plan. You know, I think maybe we should do some more research on what other towns have done and how they've experienced this and what the benefits have been, and maybe report back next month.
Right, and I mean, I think we need to get a sense from tax crunch towns, you know, because again, I see it as a tough sell. You know,
You know, I talk-
only because taxing is such a big issue in this town.
Yeah. I talked to the planner in Durham, and I know it's not totally different than Milton, but they've done 3 buildings, they thought it was a good program, and it's worked well there. I think Berlin has used it, I don't know what the experience has been up there.
Larry?
Check my math. I got a property that's worth $75,000. They put in $25,000 worth of siding and a new roof. And the town is able to justify it because it fits with the selectmen's responsibility they have prudential responsibility for the health, safety, and welfare of the town. And they decide that the improvement of the appearance of the downtown is to the welfare of the town, and the benefit of the savings in taxes is incidental to the individual, and it still benefits the town. So you got $75,000, using a tax rate of $25 per thousand. They're going to pay $1,875 a year in taxes. You give them 4 years of $25,000. It's a difference of 4 years. Comes out to about, I think, $2,500. It's very, very little. The difference between $2,000 in taxes and $1,875 in taxes. It lasts for 5 years, and then you start billing them on a property that's worth $100,000. So that's small math. You can do it yourself.
So if I own a property and the roof's starting to fall apart, siding needs to be repaired, I fix it to maintain it. My taxes go up because I maintained a piece of property that was failing?
It all depends on the assessed value in the first place.
Exactly, that's my case in
As
point.
a property owner who did repairs between assessment cycles, yes, it does. A lot.
It's just always fascinated me that I never get a discount if my property is going fading. Oh, it's always the other way.
The
It's
guy,
ironic, isn't it?
the next millionaire is the guy who invents pre-peeling paint.
Pretty peeling?
Yes, that way the house will be protected, but it will always look as if it needs paint.
You need paint that peels when it goes on, but it straightens out over time.
You can polish the outside of a turd and make it awful shiny. It's still a turd on the inside.
You know, you take the Milton Crossing for an example.
That was good.
You know, I don't know what the assessed property value was for that, but that guy, between buying it and doing that work, is spent $1 million. And I'm sure the assessment is gonna be through the roof. The thing, place is beautiful. So now, what if this would have been in place 6 months ago? You'd be waiving all that money to the town for 5 years.
Sharks no.
Again, it still has to be approved, and we have a lot of commercial
But
property
there's
in
no
this town.
there's no way under the guidelines that if this would have been in place and he would have come before us, that you could not have approved that project. How could you have not approved that?
You can create the guidelines, if we can create the guidelines however we want them.
I don't care what you put in place for guidelines, he met every one of them. What guideline would you put in place that he didn't meet?
But, and again, I mean, I'm not gonna argue this, it's something that eventually, if the Board of Selectmen decide to support it, it needs to go to the town anyway. But we have a lot of commercial property in this town that's not being used for commercial purposes. Businesses are reluctant to come into Milton. We're very lucky that we have Milton Crossing. We're
And one
very
of the
lucky.
reasons business don't wanna come in is because of our tax rate.
And that's exactly what this is
If we put
designed.
everything out there in a kiddie format, 5 years down the road, they're still not gonna come.
And how many years would it take you to recover the loss in taxes for that 4 or 5 years? You know? Yeah.
Larry'd have to do the math for us.
Again, I'm pretty certain that it's not on the total property value.
It's just the
It's
difference.
just
And
the
again,
difference.
As I said, I'm not sure what the assessed value was, you know, the assessed value for the showroom over there might have been pretty high. So he might have not altered it, but if that's not the case, he definitely increased it a lot.
And the building was really nice.
Yeah, he's put a lot of money in that place.
But there's a lot of vacant industrial and commercial land too, that we're getting very little taxes on. And we could potentially incentivize somebody to come in and put another Milton Crossing down at exit 17 or someplace, where they could spend the money to improve the infrastructure, add sewer, or whatever they need, because
A building,
Of this program.
a typical building is taxed the same whether it's empty or full. You know, so once the building is put in place, even if it's not operating, from an assessed value standpoint, the town is generating as much taxes. I mean, it'd be nice to have the businesses in town, but it doesn't affect the tax rate. I pay just as much on my building whether I'm open or closed. It's the assessed values on the building and the property.
but if there's a piece of land that doesn't have a building,
Right.
or has a building that,
And you
is
can get a
inadequate.
business to come in and add a building to it, increase the tax value, absolutely.
My concern would be that, not that this wouldn't be a bad, like, this would be a bad thing, but say you brought in businesses and they you encourage all these businesses and they're young businesses and they get in over their heads with this low tax rate and then they get slammed. They do all these work, they put all their money into improvements to their building and all this because they have low taxes, and then all of a sudden you have this grand building and you have this huge tax bill now. But I don't know, I just would be concerned it would lead to some bankruptcies.
The theory would be over a period of time, they would grow their business, increase revenues, and be able to pay for the increased taxes.
What you've got for existing structures downtown in the commercial zone are all rental units, basically. That isn't gonna change. We need to draw, and the thing right now that's gonna draw here is not the money, it's what you got going. We've got started somewhat of a draw now with Dollar General and that. But it's gonna
Which is a
end
huge
right at the end of Depot Pond Road where that sewage stops. And that's a very big dividing factor when trying to get a business to come in.
yeah, I realize that.
It's a big, big division. And you really can't go much further that way north. Once you get to that, with that railroad track in the Depot Pond Road, where are you gonna build?
Cold Mountain.
And it's this way. Any more discussion on this? Okay, thank you, Les. And we'll get the master plan update.
Okay, I basically just wanted to talk about the survey. Brian asked me to look at it and give some comments, and I wrote a memo. I thought that Eric, who did the survey, did a nice job. It was
Yep.
privately
Very
done,
good.
and the town planning board agreed to have it done. The planning board, I think, should review it and accept some of the findings. But I view it to be consistent with what the master plan draft back in February said. The way I see the results are, it tells us again how important the protection of natural resources is in town, especially Three Ponds area, and protecting water quality, and protecting lakes and streams and stuff like that. This is not new information. I think previous master plans have endorsed that, this
Right.
iteration did. And also, the results are very clear that the town doesn't want to have any heavy industrial development, but they would like some low-impact development. And I think that the scenario that we came up with a couple of years ago for exit 17 and exit 18 would generally work into that low-impact development theme. And then there were other things that were viewed as beneficial, restaurants, small businesses, would all be desirable. And I think that Eric did a real nice thing when he did the tables and did like a heat analysis where something's green, you know, at a high number, and that was something that was, people liked, and something that was red, stop, at a low number. So I think it's very easy to understand. So basically, I think the survey kind of complements and is consistent with the master plan.
Did you see anything in the, most of it kind of fell in suit with the master plan, did you see anything that contradicted
Not really.
one another?
No.
Nothing,
I don't think so.
nothing stood out?
There is, if you look at the public service stuff, okay, 3/4 of the people believe that we have adequate fire facilities, okay? So, we're gonna find out again in March, but, that's an indication that no new fire station, for example. The thing about the restaurants, you start to look backwards. Look at the restaurants we have now. Look at the history of the restaurants that we no longer have. Okay, so it's nice, it'd be really nice to have a nice restaurant. However, they come in town for 6 months and go out of business. And, our net loss, if you look down to the low end, I don't mean low, like a pizza place, okay, Spinelli's. Now, a long-established business, and this actually touches on what you were saying, a long-established business doesn't have the startup cost, doesn't have to be concerned about cash flow that the startup does. So, you gotta make enough money to remain in business. And a rotating,
I think if you look at the history of the restaurants in town, the town can support a restaurant, That doesn't say they're gonna manage it right,
Yeah, no business is easy to run.
Right,
Oh, yeah,
when the Spinellis were there, they did a nice job, and then they got older and turned it over to Frank and their son, and I won't say no more. When
Well,
the,
but
when
then
the
there was
other
another guy in
people
there.
moved into there,
Yeah.
you couldn't even park in it, the place was full every night, and the food was horrible, service was horrible, and yeah, they did go out of business right away, but if that's, no business is gonna survive in that atmosphere. But the ultimate thing is that there's enough population in Milton, and there's enough desire that the right restaurant would do extremely well in town.
Not necessarily any restaurant, but the right restaurant.
The right restaurant. And again, I didn't want to offend Mike when he was here today, I don't know if a Chinese restaurant is what the town's looking for, and,
he doesn't want to do.
And he doesn't wanna
He
do it
doesn't wanna do it,
anyways.
he doesn't
Right.
wanna get to that,
And I
blown
don't,
out of it.
right, and he doesn't want the employees and all the other stuff, I can
Right.
see that, but I don't know if, when people say they'd like to see a restaurant in town, you know, and I like Chinese food, you know, I eat it all the time. But I don't know if that's truly the restaurant we're looking for either.
Well, he just, again, he wants to go
Yeah.
back to just pretty much a little bit bigger than what he's got right now, on the same type of setup.
And not have to deal with Cumberland Farms.
Exactly, and I've been trying to encourage him to look as another type of restaurant in there. And it could very well be.
If he doesn't wanna do it, he doesn't have to do it. I mean, there-
Right, that's like, we should be encouraging people like him to lease. It's like, get a realtor, start talking leases.
You know, that could be remodeled like an old train station, put a
Yeah.
nice station
There's a-
restaurant in there, and then come out with a little something, and his little Chinese takeout could be in that with a couple other smaller businesses, and it could be a really nice,
My wife and I just took a short holiday to celebrate our 20th anniversary. And we drove up to Gorham, New Hampshire. So has anybody ever been in Gorham, New Hampshire?
Oh, yeah.
It's not a big town. They have a restaurant in Gorham. The prices are high. The chef trained with Julia Childs. It's phenomenal. We've been there 4 or 5 years ago. We went back when we were up there this time, and it was packed every single time. It's hard to get into. It's a little place. It's always full. It does great high-end food in the middle of nowhere. Right? The right restaurant can succeed pretty much anywhere. And we have a lot of hungry people in Milton.
yeah.
I mean, same way in Maine. You find in almost every little town in Maine, I used to travel to the paper mills, and there's always one really nice restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
It may close at 8 o'clock at night, but there's one restaurant,
Mhm.
nice restaurant, almost in every little town.
Mr. Brown?
If I were going to open a restaurant, I would want to know the population of the town, the income of the town, and any statistical information on discretionary income, number of meals eaten out, other restaurants in the facility, and what my competition was in a 15-mile radius. And I did not see that kind of conversation coming for the
It's a survey, it's not a business plan.
if you go up to North River, New York, which is upper Hudson, little hole in the wall on a side street, and Suzanne, who has excellent vision, is reading Charlie Smith, Culinary Institute of America. Just, again, that one restaurant in town, delicious food. Guy struck it rich, went back home to the upper Hudson, and cars lining up.
Okay, back to the master plan. I'm hungry.
I eat
How did we get so far off?
I have no
It was my
idea.
fault. I followed your lead.
Okay, I don't know where we went, but
When Jerry was mentioning that it's pretty much the same thing as a master plan already. It's almost like,
Well, the community survey is one piece of like a vision statement.
Yeah.
And it's a snapshot in time, and this is what people thought in the summer of 2015. I think it dovetails with what we came up in February.
as far as the groundwater update, that's the next thing on the agenda. Really, that really didn't change that much, not real radical.
What, you mean the ordinance that was
Yeah.
prepared?
Yeah.
Right. It was kind of like house cleaning, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the attitudes haven't changed. Basically, everybody wants the same thing. It's just, we gotta clean it up a little bit, that's all.
Yeah.
It's just like with the tax map, with the zoning maps.
So are you inclined to be supportive of what was presented?
No comments from the attorney?
No, but the only thing, again, was, out of that groundwater thing was that statement that the state says, no, don't put it in there. And that had to do with hazardous, controlling of the hazardous materials
Yeah,
type thing.
right.
And that's a verbal from the state, nothing in writing.
Not yet, no.
Wasn't that afraid?
I don't think you'll find anything coming out of it.
Legislature afraid to put something in writing?
I think it's DES.
Yeah.
Did Kyle get in touch with you?
I
gave him-
did.
He did?
He sent me an email and then I reread all my little highlighted things I wrote and I had solved most of them myself and the other few I let him off the hook and I said I'd let it ride for now.
Generous.
Which that made him warm and fuzzy.
He didn't answer me back after I said that.
You know, a couple of questions I have on there is, you know, it does point out the snow dump that the town continually dumps, you know, and, you know, I just totally despise approving ordinances that we're just not gonna follow. And then again, I got a concern with the, you know, Lakeside down the road, eventually that property's gonna get sold again and, you know, we're passing an ordinance that says it can't be a gas station.
Can't be a gas station, who's gonna pick up the bill to clean it up?
But wouldn't it be like wouldn't it be grandfathered, non-conforming?
Well,
pre-existing?
again, you know, the grandfathering's 1 year, we're right at that window. There's been no comment to the board about, they're attempting to sell and continue and wanna maintain that use,
Do they have
so.
a for sale sign up right now?
I think it's a for
Yeah,
sale
there's a sign in the doorway that says for sale or lease.
there might
Because
be-
that helps maintain their non-conformity status, if they have the intent to use it. So,
Again, I just bring it up, so when it pops up, we're all aware of it.
Any more questions, comments?
I have a question, but I'm hungry, so I'll hold it.
Not open the public on that. Oh, all right.
It's okay.
Got other business first.
Yeah.
There's another business call.
Any business?
Other business.
You got this. I don't think you have to do anything. Conservation has to do something with their
Yes.
copy.
PBN with notification by, permit by notification. This one is, dock repair. These are nice because we don't have to get them into the plant, the conservation goes over. Most of the dock repairs or retaining walls. Used to be they have to come out and take this, but now they just have you fill out this permit by notification, submit it, and you can do the work. A lot easier.
What are the requirements to have a retaining wall installed?
Huh?
What are the requirements for a retaining wall installed?
Ah,
Is it governed by the state?
oh yeah.
I would think so.
There was one that came in years ago in which it had been creosoted timber. That engine.
Yep.
It's good for the water.
I haven't seen one motor that doesn't put gas in the water. That runs by a boat, not one. I work on some big ones.
If anybody's interested on applications for private well owners, so we have that available to you also. That's it for other business?
I think so.
Yep.
Looks like it.
Motion to adjourn then.
Second.
Debate? None. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None.
That's confused.
Stay here.
Summertime.